Hello and welcome to Ask the Experts. I'm Darren Simons from Cloud9 Spain, and each episode we will bring you insider insights from the professionals shaping life and property here on the Costa del Sol. Now, whether you're considering a move to the sun, looking at property options, or navigating Spain's often complex residency rules, this is a must-watch episode. Now, today we're being joined by one of the leading names in relocation and property law here in southern Spain. Peter Franque from the Marbella-based law firm Franque de la Fuente is going to be joining us. So stay with us as we uncover what relocation law is really about. Dive into the most popular visa options, demystify the 90-180-day rule, and look at what surprises buyers most when they land here in Spain. So Peter, thanks ever so much for joining us. It's really good to see you.
Thank you, Darren.
I know we've been speaking about this for a long time. Let's get you in, have a chat about a few questions that might be on a few people's minds at the moment, because it's been a weird year, hasn't it? But anyway, before we start all of that, tell us a little bit about the work your firm does in Marbella.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Darren, for inviting me and to this beautiful office that you have here in Montmayor.
It's all right, isn't it?
It's great, and it's a great mountain to take care of.
It is, yes. Yeah.
So Franque de la Fuente, it's a law firm. I'm one of the founders of the law firm, and we are very specialized in foreign investments and what we call relocation law. We have 5 offices on Costa del Sol and in the Balearics as well. So we work with international clientele, and we help buyers and sellers with the conveyancing of their properties. But we also have expanded our services to more or less everything that an international client would need when they want to either relocate or buy something on Costa del Sol. So that would be all the fiscal services, immigration, or anything else relevant for them.
Sure. Now, I was going to come to that because you do specialize in relocation law as well. Now, for our viewers, I mean, they might not be familiar. What exactly is that, and why has it become so important?
Well, I have to say that the term relocation law doesn't really exist within the legal sphere until now. So I have invented that term, actually.
Okay, good.
It's mine.
Yeah, I did think it was yours, actually. Yeah.
No, but it makes sense to us to name what we do relocation law, because it's very accurate in my belief, at least, because we have so many people that are relocating to this area, as of course you would know, to Costa del Sol or also to Palma, and they need not only help with the conveyancing of the purchase, as lawyers do here in Spain, but it's so many more things. So as a law firm, we have to adjust to the market. And when families move over, they want to buy the property, they might want to start a business activity here, or move their business activity from a foreign company to a Spanish company. They might need help with immigration. And they're also, they might need with simple services just to establish themselves in Spain. And we take care of all of that.
That's nice, isn't it, to have a one-stop shop where you can say, look, just take care of everything. Because I think, certainly for the UK as well, because the UK, certainly where I'm from, has become non-EU now, and with that becomes a bit of a headache after Brexit. So obviously we've been seeing a growing trend in people relocating to Spain. It might be because of global affairs, or certainly after COVID, a lot of people thought, oh, hang on a minute, I can go to Spain. It's not as easy as it used to be, is it? So in terms of the key visa options currently available, what have we got on offer? Say if somebody is coming from America or the UK or somewhere like that, what can we look at which could be available?
So we all know that the golden visa is abolished, right? So let's not dig into that too much. That is not an option anymore in Spain, but there are other options. And I like to mention one obvious option that we don't discuss too much nowadays, and that is actually the touristic visa. That is the normal Schengen visa, because you can actually stay in a 180 rolling schedule, 90 days.
Right. Can you explain that really quick? And we'll come back to that question we just asked, because this is something that a lot of our clients, especially if they're new to all of this, go, I don't really understand what that means. Can it be explained really quickly and easily for somebody watching?
So let's say that you're in the UK now thinking about traveling to Spain, and you go back and forth a lot to Spain. So what you need to do is to check your calendar 180 days backwards to see, have I spent more than 90 days in Spain or not? during these 180 days? Is the answer no? You're free to travel.
Right.
Easy as that.
Easy as that. Good. All right. That helps. I think there's a few apps as well out there on your phone.
Yeah,
that
you
tell you how many
calculate
days
and
you've got
everything,
left
yeah.
as well. Is that policed quite a lot? I mean, is it? I know that they're obviously stamping passports, and there's obviously the new border checks now and things like that, but or scanned passports. Can that be easily checked as well? I mean, I guess.
If you would be spotted, of course, it can be a simple mistake. There's no serious penalties, perhaps, but at least you don't want to be flagged in the system. So then next time you travel, they will have an extra look, perhaps.
Yeah.
So better just to have a clean record, so to speak.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, clear conscience.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the visa options then. So if somebody's non-EU, what have we got to available? So the touristic one, that's 90 days.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that one because it's easily to forget. I mean, now when I talk to a lot of clients, especially when we had the rush for the golden visa, we know a lot of clients were applying for it the final hour. It's easy to forget that the touristic visa is actually still there.
And it could work for them, even though, yeah.
It could actually work for them. So I think clients, first of all, don't forget about that and make a conscious decision. Am I investing in this area, and do I actually need to spend more than 180 days per year in Spain, or am I fine, with the touristic visa? So that's always an option.
Right.
But if you want to spend more time than what you can under the touristic visa, then you have mainly two options, and that's a digital nomad visa, and it's a non-lucrative visa. Now, there are student visas, etc., but they're not very relevant to investors here.
Right. So these are the main ones. So a digital nomad. What really is that all about in very short term?
Yeah, let's break it down very easy and not go into too much detail. But as it says, it's a digital nomad, meaning that you work remotely. You can move around in the world with your occupation. So you need to be a remote worker. You can be that by employment, or you can be self-employed. And together with other kinds of requirements, you can qualify for the digital nomad visa, and thus staying here longer than only 90 days.
All right. How long can you usually stay with one of those? Is there?
Well, if it's approved, you get first of all, it's approved for a year, but then it can be renewed again for 2-year periods.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can't do on there? So you can't work here physically, is that right?
No, you can work here, but you can't, let's say, not more than 20% of invoicing can go to a Spanish company.
Okay.
So the invoicing must go to foreign companies, in the majority, so to speak. But what you need to remember, of course, if you're thinking about this option, is that you will become a tax resident in Spain, because the requirement for renewal is that you have spent more than 180 days here.
Of course.
So with the golden visa, you weren't automatically a tax resident. Through the digital nomad visa, you will be. And that is why many clients are exploring the combination of digital nomad visa together with the backhand law. Now, let's not enter into that regime too much, but I wanted to mention it because there are ways of creating a better tax structure for a foreigner with this combination.
Yeah, and I've heard a few people are doing that. And what about the spouse, the partner of the person that's obtained the digital nomad? Can they contribute? Can they work here, or is there anything they can and can't do?
They can join the application as a second applicant. Even kids can also join. So I mean, you can actually relocate with your family under the digital nomad visa regime. So if you're a remote worker, that is an option for you and your family. You are free to travel within the Schengen. So it's a quite relevant options for many nowadays, because many people are actually working remotely. And of course, we can help clients to qualify if they need to.
So lucrative and non-lucrative we do hear about as well. Let's break those down really quickly and simply.
It's the non-lucrative really. And I think, first of all, when you apply for the digital nomad visa and the non-lucrative visa, there are certain requirements which are more or less the same. You need to put it very simple, not be a burden for the Spanish society, meaning you need to have a private health insurance, clean criminal record, of course, and enough funds, financial funds, such as to sustain yourself and your family in Spain. So that's the same for both digital nomad and non-lucrative. The difference is that with a non-lucrative, it's basically for normally maybe for retirees with a passive income. So that's the quite what marks the non-lucrative is that you can't have actually an active income. You're retired,
Right. And is there a,
or you're living your life through a passive income.
is there a certain amount, minimum amount that somebody would need in a bank account every
Yes.
year or an income? Have we got those figures? Or is it
Roughly,
changed? Yeah.
roughly, if I can remember them correctly, there are for the first applicant around 2,800 euros per month as enough financial funds, and then you need more if the wife or the husband and then the children are joining the application as well.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's talk about the buying process. Somebody coming over, they're looking for property on the Costa del Sol. What are the basic steps that somebody should consider to go through legally from the offer stage to completion?
All right. To break it down very, very easily or simple, so first of all, they work closely with their clients, work closely with a broker, negotiate the price, terms and conditions, and usually at that time is when we enter the stage. So there's a reservation contract, first of all, where these terms and conditions are included, and the price, of course, is important. We usually review that contract together with the clients before they sign it. And what we do then is that the main role for the lawyer here is to perform the due diligence of the property, because it lies a responsibility on the buyer in Spain to actually research the property. That responsibility lies heavier on sellers in other countries. So I think that's the difference where that.
Yes, important
Yeah.
note to make. Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's talk money. What kind of budget should buyers be thinking about for legal costs? Because this is a question that a lot of people forget, the extra costs, don't they? You know, the taxes, the legal costs and things like that. So what are we talking about, the legal and buying costs?
Well, first of all, we must distinguish between a resale property and a new developed property.
Right.
We can talk about plots, but maybe let's not keep them out of this discussion for now. So, because on resale properties, there's a transfer tax. That's a regional tax, and here in Andalusia, it's 7% on the price. For a new
At the moment.
At the moment,
Yes, yeah.
it's a flat rate.
Yeah.
It's actually, and in many other regions, it's higher and progressive as well. So we do quite well on the transfer tax in Andalusia. But for a new developed property, it's VAT, and that's 10% together with stamp duty, so that's 1.2. To make it easy, more or less, the transaction cost when you buy a resale property in Andalusia, 9 to 10% of the price. If you buy a new developed property, 13-14%. So a few percentages higher for a new developed property.
Interesting. Good. What would you say some of the biggest surprises for foreign buyers are when they go through the process? Things that often catch them off guard that's different compared to where they've perhaps, their home countries. What's anything there that really jumps out?
It's a good question, and I think there are less and less surprises. That is my reflection throughout the last year or so, because I see that clients there are researching much more nowadays, and there's much more information available than maybe in the past. Or people are not buying only a vacational home; they're buying their permanent home or semi-permanent home. So it makes it even more important. So they do, for that reason, even more research. So there's no big surprises, I would say. There are a few things always, and if I can point one thing out, maybe it can be the Spanish bureaucracy, which sometimes can be a little bit challenging to digest for certain nationalities.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But it's quite. The process of buying a property here in Andalusia should be quite straightforward if people work with professional advisors.
Yeah, and I always think communication is such a huge thing as well,
Absolutely.
isn't it? Getting everyone talking. Now, something that a lot of people tend to talk about here is the lack of regulation, licensing, certainly on the Costa del Sol in this part of Spain. With real estate agents. What's your take on it? I mean, do you think that it should be regulated? No, is it coming? And would it help improve transparency, trust, standards? What's your
Well,
take?
is it coming? It's a good question. What the rumors and what the information that I have is saying that there is, but until we have it announced, I'm skeptical. I have to be honest. It has been introduced in Palma in the Balearics.
How's that going there for that?
Well, now it's cancelled. So there you go.
okay.
So
Right.
they introduced licensing requirements and then removed it.
Why do we know why they removed it?
It was part of an agreement between the regional government and the national government.
Okay.
Which is, to me, it's a pity because of course the whole market there, they were expecting it, preparing for it, educating themselves, signing up for liability insurances, etc. And then it was completely cancelled. I hope we can have one here in Lucia. I think it's going to be really, it's well good for the market. It's good for clients. No, I'm definitely in favor of it. Yeah.
What do you think the major benefits for that regulation would be?
Well, first of all, I mean, prices are going up in this region. We all know that. So there's a lot of money. People are investing a lot of their big amounts here. So I think liability is always important, that they're advised by professionals that actually have an official formal liability when they're advising clients about their money. Second of all, to have at least a basic requirement when it comes to training and education for people involved. So all real estate brokers should have a basic training at least. At least some ballpark, some basic rules for the market. I would definitely benefit clients and professional agencies.
Okay, excellent. Well, Peter, it's been super chatting today. Thanks ever so much for coming in. And if anyone watching wants to know a little bit more about how they can get some friendly, helpful advice, they can just reach out to you, can't they? Details are just below there, which is always good. But thanks ever so much for your insight, your expertise and knowledge. Until the next time, from Peter and myself, we'll catch you there.